Sony is absolutely cooking right now. PlayStation is dominating 2026 way harder than anyone expected. The PS5 Pro is finally catching steam and already making up around 13% of all PlayStation sales recently. And Pisser 2? Yeah, this is not some distant roadmap fantasy anymore. We are talking weeks away, actual weeks. Ubisoft even managed to deliver some genuinely good news for once, and somehow people are still screaming Sony PlayStation shill. Honestly, I will take that. At least I am back to being a PlayStation shill instead of an Nvidia shill from when I said DLSS 4.5 was impressive because, surprise, it is. Both sides keep asking me how much I am getting paid by these corporations, and the answer is still the same. Nothing. Zero. I just report facts. But facts do not sell as well as doom posting, right? Right? Apparently all people want to hear is gaming is dead, the industry is collapsing, and the sky is falling again. That is not what we do here at Daily HUBRANX.
He said it! He said it!
Here we cover the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the good and the ugly at the same time, depending on whether you are Team Blue or Team Green, is that the latest state of play, Sony Developer Direct. Damn it. So Xbox Developer Direct just casually handed PlayStation fans a stacked lineup to look forward to this year, and that is on top of PlayStation exclusives already locked in. So, without further ado, grab your tissues, tighten those tinfoil hats gently. Tickle that like button to show some love. Let us smash this weekend like Master Chief kicking the door straight through your PSN store in 2026. This is a big moment for Fable, and not just because it's finally back. This is Playground Games' first ever open-world action RPG. The same studio that built its entire reputation on precision, polish, and insane technical quality with Forza Horizon is now taking on one of the most beloved fantasy franchises in gaming. And that alone makes this fascinating, because Playground isn't just reviving Fable. They're trying to carry forward the legacy of Lionhead Studios, the team that originally created the series, while also completely redefining what Fable can be in 2026. And from everything they've shown so far, they're not playing it safe. At the heart of this new Fable is a single question. What does it actually mean to be a hero? Not in a Marvel way, not in a chosen one way, but in a personal way. This is still Fable. It's still built around choice, consequence, morality, and reputation. But the way they're building those systems now feels far more layered and interconnected than anything we've seen in the old games. You start as a child in the quiet rural village of Briar Hill, a peaceful place, safe, simple, until disaster hits. Your powers awaken. Your village is destroyed. Your grandmother is turned to stone. And suddenly, you're alone. And that's when the world opens up. Albion is now fully open world for the first time. No loading corridors. No segmented regions. Just a seamless landmass filled with rolling hills, magical forests, small villages, massive cities, coastlines, mountains, and some genuinely haunting-looking areas. And Playground is clearly leaning hard into handcrafted design over procedural filler. Every environment they've shown looks dense, layered, full of small visual storytelling details. This doesn't look like a giant empty map built just to flex size. It looks like a world that actually wants to be explored. And that matters because big maps are a double-edged sword. Everyone says they want massive open worlds, but what people actually want is meaningful exploration, not empty space, not busy work, not map icons that feel like chores. And so far, Crimson Desert aside, Fable is one of the few upcoming RPGs that actually looks like it understands that. Bauer's tone is still here. The British humor, the fairy tale weirdness, the charm, the absurdity, the chickens. And yes, the chickens are still a thing, but this time it's layered on top of a much more dynamic world simulation. There are over 1,000 fully simulated NPC characters, each with their own name, job, daily routine, personality, and behavior. They wake up, they go to work, they relax, they go home, they sleep. And the wild part is that you can interact with every single one of them. Fully voiced conversations, reactive dialogue, changing relationships, evolving opinions about you based on your actions. You're not just a hero passing through this world. You're part of its ecosystem. Buy a house, now you're a landlord. Hire people, now you're their boss. Evict someone, now they might end up homeless. Ruin their life, and they'll remember that. Help them, them, and they'll remember that too. Everything you do ripples outward, and that ties directly into how morality works this time. Fable has always played with good and evil, but now it's far more nuanced. There's no simple good meter and bad meter. Morality is subjective. Different characters interpret your actions differently. You're not judged by a universal system. You're judged by people. Some will love you, some will hate you, some will fear you, some will resent you, some will worship you, and the world responds. Kill someone important, and their corpse might literally stay in the world for the rest of your playthrough, affecting property values, changing town layouts, shifting how NPCs behave. This isn't just cosmetic, it's systemic, and that's where this Fable starts to feel genuinely ambitious. Combat also looks dramatically evolved. You're blending melee, ranged, and magic in real time. Fluid combos, spell weaving, environmental interactions, enemy variety that forces you to constantly adapt. And instead of rigid classes, your playstyle is shaped by how you fight, what you invest in, and how you approach situations. You're building your hero through action, not menus, which honestly fits Fable better than traditional RPG systems ever did. And then there's the scale of the world. Massive cities like Bowerstone, dense villages, coastal settlements, cult-controlled regions, rival gangs, ancient ruins, mountains, marshlands, haunted zones, and all of it fully explorable early. This isn't a slow drip-feed world. This is, here's Albion, go become whoever you want. And the crazy part? This is all coming from a studio that's never made an RPG before. That's the real story here. Forza Horizon 6 is coming to PS5 Pro, and it's going to look insane. That alone is wild. A Horizon game on PlayStation, running on PS5 Pro hardware. A series that's always been a technical flex is now about to show up on a machine built specifically to push visuals, scale, and performance harder than before. But here's the thing, the PS5 Pro angle only matters if the game itself is worth flexing. So let's rewind for a second, because Forza Horizon 6 isn't just the next Horizon. It's the most ambitious game Playground has ever built, and everything they've shown points to a project that's been designed from the ground up to scale hard. Japan is the setting, not as a gimmick, as the core identity of the game. This is their largest map ever, the most vertical, the most diverse. Dense cities, mountain passes, coastal roads, rural countryside, all stitched together with zero friction. Their Tokyo alone is 5 times larger than any city they've built before. Not just big, but layered, shortcuts everywhere, streets designed to be driven, not just looked at. You don't start as a racing god either. You start as a tourist, a nobody, earning your way into the Horizon Festival by completing qualifiers, unlocking wristbands, and proving you belong. The campaign is structured around progression that actually feels like a journey, not a checklist. And once you hit that gold wristband, you unlock Legend Island, endgame content, exclusive events, areas that exist specifically to reward players who stuck with it. The world itself is handcrafted to a ridiculous degree. Real road scans, real sky time lapses, real environmental reference from Japan, even how water kicks up behind tires and how cherry blossoms react when cars tear through them. This isn't just visual polish. It feeds directly into driving feel. Cars matter more too. Over 550 at launch. Better class balance from D class all the way to a new R class. New body kits, expanded Forza Aero, window liveries, engines that sound placed in the world instead of glued to the car. Cosmetic tire wear builds as you drive. Audio is rebuilt with new acoustic modeling that reacts to environment and speed. And Horizon is still Horizon. It's not just racing. You've got fully customizable garages, social car meets inspired by real Japanese spots, shared open world challenges with no loading screens, full multiplayer creation tools so you and your friends can build together in real time. Even accessibility gets a big push. Auto drive, proximity radar, customizable high contrast mode. This is still Horizon for everyone. Now, let's circle back, because this is why PS5 Pro matters here. This game is built to scale. Massive cities, dense foliage, long sightlines, insane lighting, tons of cars on screen, heavy physics, dynamic seasons, real-time social systems. On PS5 Pro, this thing isn't just going to run, it's going to flex. Higher resolution, cleaner image reconstruction, better lighting stability, smoother performance in dense city driving and night races through mountain passes. When your opinion, and even my opinion, doesn't matter. I keep seeing comments like this everywhere. Nobody cares about Marathon. Dead on arrival. Concord 2.0. And I get where that energy comes from. We've seen live service games flop. We've seen overhyped reveals crash and burn. So people automatically assume the same fate here. But the internet has this weird habit of confusing personal taste with objective reality. If you don't like something, suddenly nobody cares. If your timeline isn't hyped, suddenly the game is irrelevant. That's not how the gaming industry actually works. I'll be honest, Marathon isn't really my thing either. It's just not my gameplay style. I'm not big on FPS games in general. Same reason I don't play Battlefield or COD. That's a personal preference thing, not a quality judgment. But here's where people mess this up. Just because you or I aren't interested doesn't mean nobody else is. A lot of people are genuinely hyped for this game. And history has shown over and over that dismissing a passionate fan base is a mistake. I always say this: never underestimate established communities. Assassin's Creed fans will show up no matter how loud Twitter complains. Bungie fans are the same. That studio has earned goodwill over decades. And let's be real, Bungie was close to fumbling Marathon hard. The initial reveal didn't land. The art theft drama didn't help. The vibe felt off for a lot of people. That criticism was fair, but here's the difference. Bungie actually listened. They didn't double down. They didn't call the audience toxic. They addressed the feedback and reshaped the game into something more appealing. That matters. The Concord comparison really exposes the gap here. Concord had an open beta. Anyone could try it. No barrier, no approval, and almost nobody cared enough to show up. Marathon, over 500,000 people signed up just to request access to a closed beta. Closed, invite only. This was during alpha, when the game looked rough and the discourse was at its worst. Fast forward to now, and that number has clearly multiplied. Interest didn't collapse. It grew. And this is where Luke Stevens nailed it. If you're gonna roast a reveal and tear it apart, fine. That's part of the conversation. But when developers actually respond, fix issues, and improve the game based on feedback, you also have to acknowledge that. Otherwise, you're not critiquing games anymore. You're just farming outrage with no end goal. And this leads me to the next big issue we should be discussing. Let's talk about Highguard, because the internet has already decided this game is a failure. And I don't mean might struggle. I mean death lag. Dead on arrival. Cooked. Written off. Finished. And all of that happened the moment it closed out the Game Awards. That alone should tell you something. Highguard didn't fail because people played it and hated it. It failed, in the public imagination at least, because of where it showed up. When a game closes the Game Awards, expectations go through the roof. That final slot has trained audiences to expect something massive. A new Naughty Dog game, Monster Hunter, a Final Fantasy release date, something special. So when the curtain dropped and it was another multiplayer shooter, people didn't just get disappointed, they laughed. Eye rolls. Concord comparisons started instantly. And once that narrative took hold, everything else snapped into place around it. People convinced themselves that Highguard blew its entire budget on that final slot, flopped in real time, then went completely silent because the studio already gave up. Radio silence became proof. Silence meant panic. Panic meant failure. That's the story everyone ran with. But here's the thing. That story isn't actually true. There was a lot of noise around the idea that the Game Awards slot costs around $1 million. That number comes from sources speaking to Kotaku, and yeah, a 2.5-minute trailer at TGA is expensive. But Highguard didn't pay for that closing position. Multiple journalists reported that Jeff Keighley himself offered them the slot. It was an editorial decision. He liked the game. He wanted to spotlight something that was actually close to release, instead of another "see you in 3 years" teaser.
You know, sometimes our last reveal at the Game Awards is a teaser for something years and years away. Not tonight. Our final world premiere comes from 61 members of the team that built Apex Legends and Titanfall. 4 years ago, the principals founded a new independent studio with the hopes of pushing the shooter genre forward with a new original game. They've done it in complete secrecy, which is even more amazing because the game is very deep into development. The power of independent, self-published studios to push this medium forward is a growing and I think positive theme in our industry. And so tonight, you're not only going to get the announcement of the game, but also your first look at the gameplay. I've played it, and after you see this trailer, I think you're going to want to as well. Welcome to Highguard.
And honestly, that part makes sense. The trailer had gameplay. It fit the story Jeff likes telling lately. Small or independent studios formed by ex-AAA devs punching above their weight. 61 developers, many of them from Apex Legends and Titanfall, now free from EA, making the kind of game they want to make. That pedigree was the entire pitch. Jeff said it out loud, from the makers of Apex and Titanfall. The problem is, that pitch didn't land, because pedigree only works if what you're showing inspires confidence. And for a lot of viewers, Highguard didn't. What they saw looked familiar. Hero abilities, sliding, destruction, fantasy meets guns. It didn't look bad, but it didn't look new either. The most unique hook seemed to be riding horses and bears, which, yeah, that didn't exactly win people over. Even the name didn't help. Highguard sounded like someone ran Overwatch through a thesaurus. Some people genuinely thought it was a fake game, so the vibes were bad, really bad. Now here's where people start asking the wrong question. They ask, why has Wildlife Entertainment gone completely dark? And they assume the answer is fear or failure. But silence doesn't always mean panic. Sometimes it's just strategy. Look at the calendar. Late 2025 is one of the worst possible windows to market a multiplayer shooter. You're competing with Call of Duty, Battlefield, Arc Raiders. You can't launch right before Christmas because the holidays kill momentum. That basically leaves January. So if your reveal went poorly and sentiment is already hostile, what do? You don't drip feed blog posts. You don't release character breakdowns, because every single one of those would just get compared to Overwatch, Apex, or Concord. Every ability would be mocked. Every mechanic would be dismissed before people even touched it. At that point, marketing becomes a Sisyphean task. You're pushing a boulder uphill, except the boulder is water and it's already flowing downhill. There's nothing you can do to stop it. And this is where it gets interesting. According to leaks reported by Tom Henderson at Insider Gaming, Highguard has already had a marketing event. You just haven't seen it, because everyone involved is under embargo. That suggests a very deliberate pivot. No second reveal, no redemption trailer, no slow burn. The next time most people see Highguard, it's likely going to be playable. Streamers, press, hands-on, a day one push. Basically, the Apex Legends playbook. And yeah, maybe the Game Awards reveal was a mistake. Maybe this should have been a shadow drop from the start. But once that reveal didn't land, a big coordinated launch becomes the next best option. Now zoom out for a second, because this isn't just about Highguard. There's a broader reality here. Multiplayer games don't survive on quality alone. They survive on visibility. There's research showing players need absurd levels of exposure before they convert. Hundreds of hours of collective impressions, trailers, clips, conversations, memes. And even then, the conversion rate is tiny. That means for a multiplayer game to break through, it needs a network effect. People have to feel like others are playing. That momentum is everything. Concord tried to manufacture that momentum through hype and failed. It looked like a game that thought it was too big to fail. Highguard seems to be doing the opposite. Stay quiet. Let the game speak. Avoid pretending it's already a phenomenon. And here's the uncomfortable part. Some people don't just think Highguard will fail. They want it to. There's a vibe online that this game almost deserves to die just for existing. Like it's wasting resources that could have gone into something else. Like another shooter is an insult. I get the frustration. I really do. People want variety. They want single-player games. They're tired of live service promises. But let's be honest, this isn't a giant AAA publisher chasing infinite money. This is an indie studio made up of shooter developers making a shooter. Of course they are. That's what they do. Highguard could be terrible. It could flop. Or it could be surprisingly good and just look bland until you play it. Both are possible. We don't know yet. What we do know is this. Writing it off before launch doesn't make you insightful. It just makes you early. If it succeeds, it joins games like Arc Raiders and disrupts the space a little. If it fails, the industry keeps moving and tries again. One indie studio failing doesn't kill the genre. It just means this specific attempt didn't land. And honestly, if more independent studios start challenging the big incumbents, even if some of them fail, that's not a bad thing. Disruption is healthy, especially in a genre that's been stagnating. So yeah, I understand the eye rolls, I understand the skepticism, but I don't think preemptive doom is the move here. Let's see how it actually plays, and then we judge it. Alright, next quick hit, and this one is actually insane. An analyst is predicting that The Witcher 4 could end up costing close to $800 million. Yeah, 800 million. According to a Noble Securities analyst cited on a Polish investment platform, the game itself could cost around $388 million to develop, with another $400 million potentially going straight into marketing. That puts the total budget flirting with numbers we usually associate associate with blockbuster films, not games. And remember, this isn't some rushed release. CD Projekt Red has already confirmed The Witcher 4 won't release in 2026, and the new Witcher trilogy is planned over roughly 6 years. So this is a long, expensive, carefully staged bet. What makes this even crazier is the wider picture. The same analyst suggests the entire Witcher trilogy budget may have jumped from about $583 million to $861 million. That's a massive escalation, and it shows how much CDPR is willing to spend to protect the Witcher brand after the Cyberpunk launch fallout. Speaking of Cyberpunk, there's more. The report also claims Project Orion, the sequel to Cyberpunk 2077, could cost over $416 million to develop, largely due to multiplayer integration. And if that's true, it may not land until Q4 2030, lining up with Cyberpunk 10-year anniversary. Now, important disclaimer, these are analyst predictions, not official numbers. CDPR hasn't confirmed any of this. So yeah, grain of salt, a big one. Still, even if these estimates are off by a bit, the direction is clear. Budgets at the top end of AAA are getting absolutely out of control. And CDPR is betting hard that The Witcher 4 isn't just another sequel, but a full-on industry-defining release. The real question is simple. Does spending $800 million actually make a better game, or just a more expensive one? That's the gamble. All right, next topic. Quick one, but it's wild. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still alive. Yeah, somehow. According to Insider Gaming, the game survived Ubisoft's latest wave of cancellations. And that's saying something because Ubisoft just chopped 6 projects, including the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake. Now here's the insane part. Beyond Good and Evil 2 was first revealed on May 30th, 2008. That puts it at over 17.5 years in existence. Literally the longest development cycle in gaming history. To be fair, the current version of the game only really started around 2017, but even then, that's still 8 to 9 years of development, which is already absurd by modern standards. Despite all that, Ubisoft still believes the project has value. Sources say it's still in active development, at least for now, even after restructuring and cost-cutting. And yeah, the development hasn't been clean. In 2023, Ubisoft Montpellier was under investigation due to serious burnout issues. Developers going on sick leave, constant direction changes, pushbacks. Sources estimate the game has already cost over $500 million, $500 million, and Ubisoft still thinks it's worth continuing. That alone tells you how deep they're in. As for release, nobody knows. It could still be years away, and that's not exaggeration. Game Freak is stepping way outside its comfort zone, and honestly, it shows. Their upcoming PS5 RPG Beast of Reincarnation looks light years ahead of what we're used to seeing from the studio. And yeah, that's why Pokemon fans are giving it a bit of side-eye. This doesn't look like a Nintendo-bound, technically constrained project at all. The game is built in Unreal Engine 5, and it was shown during the Xbox Developer Direct, which already tells you this is a very different kind of Game Freak production. Visually, it's post-apocalyptic, moody, and way more polished than people expect from this studio. The art style might lean a little generic in places, but the overall jump in production values is impossible to ignore. Gameplay-wise, it's pitched as a one-person, one-dog RPG, and the structure is actually pretty interesting. The combat looks similar to Final Fantasy VII Remake in concept. You've got fast-paced, real-time action with the protagonist Emma using a katana, but layered on top of that is a tactical menu-driven system tied to her dog Ku. As you parry and fight, you build up a meter. When it fills, time slows down, and you can issue commands to Ku, turning intense action moments into more thoughtful, strategic pauses. According to the developers, the goal is to mix reflex-based combat with the decision-making of a classic command-based RPG, instead of forcing players to rely purely on twitch reactions. Narratively, there's some cool tension here too. Emma can manipulate plant life to traverse the world, but that same power has made her an outcast. Ku, meanwhile, is considered a malefact, a creature society views as dangerous. The twist is that Emma is actually tasked with hunting and killing beings like Ku, which makes their partnership fundamentally uncomfortable and emotionally loaded. Put all of that together, and yeah, this is easily one of the most ambitious side projects Game Freak has ever shown. Whether it fully sticks the landing is still a question, but from a production and design standpoint, this is not the Game Freak people think they know. Surprisingly solid, and absolutely worth keeping an eye on.
Kip hasn't done flipping anything today.